Good evening. How is everybody doing? What's going on, Mr. Young? What's up, buddy? Craig, how are you? I got your note, my friend. Did I gargle with salt water? What's going on, Hellbolt? Love you, man. No, I just tried not to talk today. I'm about 89% back. It's not nearly as cracky and raspy. Little sore from all the screaming, but I think I've recovered fairly well. Though it still feels like I got a little bit of a frog in my throat, so I'm working on that. But other than that, it is pretty darn good. For those who go to the website and for those who get alerts for the website, I did post, in addition to "What's up, Ja? How you doing?" Hey, listen, man. If you want to buy a mirror, I don't believe in the bad luck. My luck trumps that luck, so I'm not worried about it. Hello, Mel. Hello, Jimmy. So we are, I've posted 2 boxes for personal breaks. First off the line, Elite. I've posted 1 box for a conference break. So if you didn't feel like jumping in on a full one, I do have a conference break as well. Ooh, and a new mirror coming. There you go. So if you want to get your football on, get it before, I know, Doug. Doug, it's Saturday. We expect you to only be here for a little bit. So we got you, man. Enjoy your dinner. I will just sit here and starve and drink nothing but water, because I'm working. So the football, obviously tomorrow the big day. Thursday we got things started right. If I was anybody, that is true. And by the way, tell the rest of the Vikings I said hello and hope they enjoy their dinner as well. Don't be surprised if a lot of our competitors have a price for football today and a different price come Wednesday. That Mike Trout guy, isn't he injured? I thought his career was over. I thought the injuries were derailing his career, and they advised everybody to sell his cards because of how his injury was on the brink of retirement. And now you're telling me he might be pretty good? I thought he was like 6 weeks away from pumping gas at a Sunoco. Another homer, 6 games in a row. Yeah, he's washed up. I'd sell if I were you. As a matter of fact, I'll give 10 cents on the dollar so you don't feel cheated. Speaking of baseball, Craig has a 2022 Topps Archive Sig Series. Craig, would you like to see what's inside of it? Oh, he did take it personally. He brought the big bat out. Judge and Otani we're getting? Right. All right, Craig. The last time I opened one of these for you, there was a 1 of 1 inside. He says, I would like a dual auto. All right. So it's not a dual auto. What's going on, Don? But I will tell you, it is another 1 of 1. So 2 out of your last 3 are 1 of 1s. Again, We are starting off the day on fire. And those who take advantage of that will be rewarded handsomely. From Milwaukee, it's Ted Simmons. Uno de uno. Mine, mine, mine. It is yours. A little OPG action. Man, I miss OPG baseball. This card is 2 years younger than me. That's a 40-year-old card. Dig that. Absolutely dig that. Yep, that is James. He is in the building hanging out with us. We're going to be going out after the day is over. Oh, I do what I can, Panda. Thank you. So there we go. We're kicking Saturday off with a 1 of 1. One shot, one kill for Craig. Now we need to find somebody who is willing to get on the football train. Or the Star Wars train. We have legacy football. We have first off the line elite. We still have SIG series. Wow, not much. We got 4 SIG series Star Wars. Got about half a dozen slightly more clearly authentic. Watching the fights tonight? No, probably not. It was funny though. I mentioned the incredible Discord that was going on at the at the fights, the interviews, and how they had to scrap the interviews. Now apparently nobody could make weight. I have said this time and time again. I used to be a diehard UFC guy, and it is going into absolute chaos. It is not being run well since it was sold. It has become a cash grab for the owners and an absolute turd for the fighters. And now the fighters are... the money isn't big enough for them to care about actually doing their job. They are silently resigning. Nobody's making weight anymore. You've got people that aren't behaving well. It has just been brutal, man. It has been brutal. I've said it ever since the sale. The UFC has gone downhill. Now that a major profiteering company has come in, it's doo-doo. And those who have followed me for the last 3 years know that I speak glowingly of the UFC in its inception from the beginning. I have always spoken well of it. I've never liked Dana White, even though I understand how he saved the sport. But what is going on this last week is just showing the de-evolution of fighting. And somebody needs to put in the money to come up with a good, viable alternative. One that isn't based off of gimmicks, like that other one that I've seen. Bellator. What's going on, Chef? How you doing, man? Bellator is all gimmick fights, or at least it has been in the past. I stopped keeping up with Bellator because of it. Chef, how is school, buddy? Are the kids treating you well? Don, how are those machines treating you? Brutal week. Did you have to beat up a bunch of kids? I know how that feels. I get it. I do. Soon the UFC will be like sarcastic episode of See How Right? Oh man, Don. Well, hey Don, I'm glad you have the day off. I appreciate you spending it with me. You could be anywhere, but you're right here, and I appreciate that. Thank you, buddy. But yeah, John, I have been sour on the UFC for a while. I look at the what the purses these fighters are making, even at the highest tier, and ever since they took away their ability to sponsor, I understand taking away the fighters' shorts, the sponsorship on the shorts. I get it. You want to look more professional, like a viable sport. I understand. But taking away the banner behind them, which didn't hurt anybody, those fighters, and I have actually had the privilege of knowing some fighters. Nobody big. One of my casual acquaintances was on the Ultimate Fighter. He didn't last long. But that was in the era when your shorts and that banner behind you paid the bills. Because they might only get $4 grand for a fight, but they can make 70 grand in sponsorships. And the UFC took that away and gave them tiered money from Reebok at the time. Now it's Venom or whoever it is. And only the champions are getting the larger endorsements. And and my friend even said he's doesn't fight anymore. He said, I am glad I was a construction worker because when that changed, if I didn't have construction to fall back on, couldn't afford to fight. And that's sad. Here's what I will tell you. The UFC cards are expensive by the box. I recommend buying singles of the fighters you like. That's what I do. Only when something is on like a flash sale for the UFC will I get them now. I buy singles. That's my recommendation. Find the fighters you like. Find the fighters you think are going to be good, and grab the singles. Because you're talking, some of them are up to a G, 2 Gs a box, and it's bonkers. Thanks, Don. Some kids are great. They treat you like a rock star. You are a rock star. As a 2 hour recess. Oh, I can't help you there, Chef. I wasn't, I was one of the recess kids in school, so I'm the wrong person to ask. I did not expect to go on a UFC diatribe. But you got me, man. I'm telling you. When I heard that they missed weight by one guy missed it by what was it 7.5 pounds, 6.5 pounds. Like that's somebody who quit. That's somebody who was at the scale, was 2 pounds over, and is like, "Eff it, I'm not gonna starve myself." So it was 7.5 pounds. That's what I thought. 7.5 pounds is egregious. That is a slap in the face. I don't care if you are the main card. I don't care if you're the main event. Uh, all right, here we go. This is what grinds my gears. So that person is overweight. The other person had the option of taking half of the other person's purse, or 40%, or whatever the scaled amount is, uh, to still take the fight. And if they decline, then they don't fight. They get their show up bonus, but they don't get a win bonus. That's garbage. But if that other fighter was high on beaver tranquilizer or whatever it is they shoot themselves up with, um, they would lose half of their pay for fighting the guy. But it doesn't go to the other guy. It goes to the athletic commission. I'm sorry, but if I just fought somebody that was roided up to the neck, like, I don't know, what's that bum's name? The one that was in the WWE? Brock Lesnar, that turd. That dude was juiced every single fight. He just got caught 3 times out of his 7. If I found out that he was juiced after I fought him and they took half his money and didn't give me a dime, I'd file a grievance. Because why are you paying the athletic commission? I'm the one that got my face pulverized in by a medically enhanced scumbag. I say if they get caught for drugs, some of that money should go to the other fighter that got his face rearranged by the chemically advantaged ape. So, that, again, what do I know? I'm just a casual fan now. Anything other than, don't think I'm ever going to. No, no, Panda, you absolutely can. It just like I'm. This week really was my like. I read it today. I didn't watch the weigh-ins yesterday. I watched it today, and I saw that they had to rearrange the entire card, and I was just like, oh, it made me so mad this morning, because it's like, why can't you just put together a card? Why can't you just? These guys are gladiators. These guys, I have the utmost respect for UFC fighters. If you have ever been in a street fight, and not everybody has, I unfortunately have been in quite a few growing up in Buffalo. You see the level that those guys are at, and and knowing the anxiety and fear that there is being in a fight, you have respect for those who do it professionally, because whether any tough guy admits it or not, every single person that's in a fight is scared before the fight and during the fight. I will wholeheartedly admit that. The only person that's not scared is the bully, typically. And maybe 9 times out of 10, the bully's scared and he's acting out of his fear of being found out as a fraud. But I have the utmost respect for those fighters. Pay those. To quote, was it Rounders? Pidet mien. Pidet mien is money. Give him cash. Yo, it is. For the owners, it's like, fight for our amusement. Here's a nickel. And the highest paid people, they're like, oh, he's got a 7-figure contract. Yeah, stretched out over 10 fights. Okay, $1 million over 10 fights. You're getting $100K a fight. You better win. Because $100K a fight, you can fight maybe 3 times a year. 9 times out of 10, you're going to get a medical disclearance for a standard 60-day medical no contact for concussions. Yeah. Oh, yeah. The adrenaline kicks in. Oh, no. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, Ice Wolf, here's what's really funny. So I was in the security field, and I had to kind of learn to control my adrenaline and anger. But before then, I would get such a hard shot of adrenaline when I would be in those situations that I would literally vomit after the fight. The situation would be over, and then I'd be like, pardon me a moment, and I'd hurl my guts out because of how much the adrenaline would kick. But yeah, it's not, fights aren't fun, man. And if people say they are, they're sick because they're not fun. Just saying. Just saying. Okay. Let me see what else I did today. I thought I loaded some stuff up. Oh, actually, no. You know what? I was going to split up some of the football into different breaks. If anybody was interested in doing something along the lines of a division break, I can make that wholly possible as well. I mean, I can do anything on the fly. I have all the passwords to the site. I can make stuff on the fly. So if anybody wants something in particular, or if they want to do a draft break for any of the single card items, like the Clearly Authentic, the Star Wars, or the Retired Player SIG series, grab somebody in the chat, let me know. We can get that handled too. I'm open for anything. I'm here for fun. I have all the codes. That's right. Was it up, 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 down, down, left, right, ABBA? Whatever the Konami code was. Yeah, give me a He-Man sword. I have the power. There you go. Top. Oh my God, that is a fantastic question, and I have so many answers for you. The only quarterback taken in the first round this year was Kenny Pickett to Pittsburgh, and a lot of people were down on Pickett because of the size of his hands. He has tiny, tiny hands. Um, Pittsburgh drafted him to be the successor to Big Ben. And Pittsburgh has actually had the opportunity to watch him play the whole time because their practices were in the Steelers' facilities. They or vice versa. Don would actually know better than I would. So they had firsthand knowledge of Pickett, and they decided to grab him in the first round. We had, I think it was 6 receivers go in the first round. This guy right here, who went 16th overall. I do not think Mitch finishes as the starter unless Mitch is capable of doing so, but Mitch is going to have to win 80% of the games. I think if he falters for 2 games in a row, they're going to see what they have in Pickett. It's only a matter of time before they put Pickett in. You don't grab a Q in the first if that's not your intention. That's kind of where San Francisco is. Pitt shares a stadium with the Steelers. Kenny had to move his stuff from one side of the hallway to the other. There you go. Malik Willis out of 100. That is fantastic. So Malik Willis is going to be the quarterback of Tennessee. He's got a set of wheels on him. He's got a set of wheels. It's yet to be seen if they can keep his accuracy under control. But the dude can run. He's got wheels. So he's a good dual threat quarterback. His throwing and his ability to read defenses was the concern there. But as we can see by Jalen Hurts from Philly, Malik has a place in the NFL. Your top receivers. This is reminiscent of the 2014 draft, where you had Odell Beckham Jr. You had, it's a kid that's at, oh, goodness, drafted by the Bills, went to KC, and is now Sammy Watkins. That's who it was, Sammy Watkins. This draft, I think, is going to be a lot like the 2014. You had a ton of high-end wide receiver talent. You had Jahan Dotson, who went to the Commanders. You had the Titans trading away A.J. Brown and grabbing Treylon Burks. If he can keep his conditioning under control, he's going to be great. But there are a bunch of stellar wide receivers. Chris Olave is just a throw the ball up and I'll go get it. Oh, I know, Panda. I know. Olave could do really big things in New Orleans. He's literally a burner. Just throw the ball. I'm going to go track it down. He's great at beating the man. You have London, Drake London, who went to Atlanta. He's your big prototype wide receiver. He could be fantastic. One name that doesn't get mentioned enough is Jamison Williams, who blew out his knee at the end of the year last year. He could be arguably wide receiver 1 of this draft when things shake out. Obviously, he's going to be recouping for the year. You had Mechie, who went to Houston, who unfortunately was diagnosed with leukemia, a very treatable and highly successfully treated leukemia. So there's hoping that he is back next year. As a matter of fact, I'm banking he will be. I actually traded a 2024 second round pick in my dynasty to put him on my injured reserve and keep him. That's how much I have faith in medicine and him coming back from that. It would be like me taking him the year after next. So I'm all in. I'll take it. So there is a ton of talent. Now, running backs, Brees Hall was the big name. After that, you have Dalvin Cook's little brother, James Cook. He went to the Bills. He's expected to be a pass-catching running back who, as Moss and Singletary's contracts expire, you could see Cook filling that as well. Dameon Pierce went to Houston and was the absolute surprise darling of the preseason. Who has the most receiving yards this year out of rookies or out of all wide receivers and tight ends? Because I have two different answers for each. Or excuse me, one different answer for each. While you answer that, Dameon Pierce going to Houston, nobody saw him taking over HB1. And that's what he is. He's come in, he is a great north-south runner, bangs it between the tackles, and can still break away. Pacheco is a wonderful prospect in KC. Marshall did win. Pacheco was, I believe, the fastest clocked running back in the draft, and they've been putting him at slot receiver in KC in the preseason. He could have a tremendous amount of upside, especially if Clyde doesn't get his stuff together. As far as who is overall going to have the most receiving yards this year, oh, goodness gracious. So, I will start with the rookies. I believe the person who could possibly get the most yards receiving as a rookie could actually be Olave. Because I have a feeling Olave is just going to be streaking up and down the field. You got Jameis. You can speak all the trash you want about famous Jameis. Jameis can launch the ball down the field, and Olave's that perfect match to that. So I think of the rookies, Olave could do it. I like the idea of Diggs taking it all this year. However, with the wide receivers, the 4 and 5 wide receiver sets that Buffalo is utilizing this year, with the emergence of Gabe Davis as WR2 and McKenzie in the slot, they're going to be carving out those yards. Diggs will be a top 10, I believe. I think Adam Thielen, believe it or not, is going to be up there too. JJ is taking a lot of the double teams. That leaves Thielen available in single coverage. The man still got gas in the tank, and I have a feeling the Vikings are going to be playing from behind a lot. Devontae Adams has a very good shot at leading the league in wide receiving or reception yards. Being with his old quarterback. You just traded Thielen. Sorry, bud. I did a dynasty review a few videos ago, and I went over some of the sneaky people to keep, and I think I mentioned Thielen was one to keep. I think Carr is going to feed Adams the ball, and I think that's going to get him. If he doesn't lead in I don't keep saying wide receiver. If he doesn't lead in reception yards, I think Devontae Adams could get the most receptions. I think Waller is going to have an injury-plagued season. If you can get Foster, I think it's Foster Moreau, the backup 25-year-old tight end for Vegas, I would get stock in him. I think if Waller can't do it, Moreau will. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna pull out my phone. Thielen for Waller was the trade. Why didn't you speak up sooner? You traded Thielen for Waller. I'm sorry, bud. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing at myself because sorry, man. Here's another one that could be sneaky. Jalen Reagor was traded to the Vikings. Reagor might actually be useful. I have a feeling he'll get over his drops. That's a first round talent. Reagor could be a decent stash, and you can dump him by week 4 if he doesn't work. N'Keal Harry is on IR. I got him just to stash him. We have unlimited IR in my Dynasty League, so I took him just to stash him. I bought him for $1. O.J. Howard for Houston. Right now they have the young guy, the young tight end in Houston. I think O.J. Howard, once he gets integrated into the system, you will start seeing him cut into those receptions as well. Oh man, Waller for Thielen. Okay. I mean, so listen. That still looks good on paper because what I've said hasn't come to fruition yet. So that is not bad on paper now. Here's what I can tell you. This trade happened. No, he doesn't get enough attention. I'm going to give you this trade. Here's a good trade. This one is one that looked great on paper and then died 3 days later. All right, let me, I want to find the exact date for it because the date matters. All right. Did not see that long ago. Let's go by trade. All right. So this would have been on August 23rd. On August 23rd, I traded for Dameon Pierce and a 2023 first round pick. That first round pick is probably going to be a top 5 pick. I believe that gentleman, it's a 12-team super flex dynasty with TE premium. I believe this gentleman will be in the bottom 5, personally. I'm not going to win. I'm going to be middle of the boat. So I'm getting what I believe to be an early first from 23. And Dameon Pierce. I gave up Treylon Burks and Brian Robinson. On 8/23, I made that I made that trade. On August 28th, 5 days later, Robinson was shot in the knee and the butt cheek. I did not warrant the hit on Robinson. I think it's terrible that it happened to him. They say it was a 1 in a million shot. It went through all of the bad stuff in the knee, so it didn't change the knee structurally. I was trepidatious about Treylon's conditioning and the fact that he has asthma, and I just figured I would go ahead and just wash him away for a first round pick next year. and I basically traded Dameon Pierce for Robinson. And then, like 3 days after the shooting, Dameon Pierce put on a clinic in a preseason game. And I was like, wow, I just won this all around. Now, hopefully, for the other owners' sake, I hope Trey Burks balls out. Because I'd feel bad if he ends up being a bust too. Because then it was really lopsided. Allen is going to have a big year. Allen is going to be the league MVP, the Super Bowl MVP, and the Super Bowl champion this year. He's got the triple crown. It's a Diddy hit. Yeah, yeah. So Allen's gonna get everything. He's gonna get everything. That is my thought. I mean, this is what the Bills have been building for. What's up, Brent? Brent, it was amazing, man. The stadium was beautiful. The crowd was close to 50% Bills fans. Buffalo handled their piece. It was awesome. I loved it. Doug is the man, as you all know. He took great care of me. It was awesome. So, great company, great game. It's going to be great. Oh, no way, man. If they do, the only game they'll lose is Week 17 when they put in the backups. And Week 18 is against the Patriots, so there's a good chance they'll even beat the Patriots with their backups. Because I don't have any faith in Mac Noodle Arm Jones. As a matter of fact, I wonder if I have that Mac Jones card here. I think I do. I lied to you. I do not have the Mac Jones. I thought it was in here. Great. Very good. Can't complain. Let me think. Oh, continuing with what you were saying. Rookies to look for in this year. Oh, I know he is. Good, Hellbolt. Tight ends. So, Trey McBride, who is stuck behind a fantastic tight end right now. Trey McBride is going to be a stud. If you're in Dynasty, and none of your other people took him, I can't imagine he didn't go in a rookie dynasty draft. Grab him. He is going to be fantastic in about a year or two. Tight ends typically have a longer development period because they have to learn the nuances of blocking and block schemes as well as receiving. So he's going to be good. Olave, man, is going to be great. If I could get some shares of Olave, I would. And I didn't know about Burks' asthma. And if I did, I would not have taken Burks with the 4th pick. I would have taken Olave. Or London. Because I think it's going to be the London and Pitts show. In Atlanta. In Hotlanta. I think Mariota is just going to be scrambling and tossing bombs. Or doing the best he can to do so. I want your Broncos to win at least 8 games. They paid their entire future for their quarterback, so I hope they do well. Yeah, I don't think anybody was sleeping on London. I think he's consensus, arguably the safest pick of the draft. Olave is going to be based on whether he can create separation. London is just an all-round fantastic wide receiver. I mean, he's coming in already high to his ceiling. I think the other guys have the potential to improve more. London is the most complete, in my opinion. I like the idea of Burks going to Tennessee after Tennessee dumped Brown. I was like, oh, I was razzled dazzled by that trade, so that made me want his shares. If I would have not taken that trade into account, because I don't have it here. I did have my original big board from Dynasty. I had my big board here. And my big board originally had London as my top wide receiver. It went London, Olave, Burks. London went with the third pick, so I knew he wasn't going to be there. And I originally had Olave, then Burks. Then the trade happened where Brown went, and I'm like, oh, they're just going to feed the ball. This is going to be the Burks show. And then they're like, yeah, he's out of shape. He's got asthma. And I'm like, oh, great. I don't want to deal with a headache. I'm going to get rid of him for a first round. It'll be an early first round next year. I'll have a shot at a good running back, another quarterback, or a wide receiver. Having a super flex. I have two questionable quarterbacks with massive potential, but bust potential as well. I have Mills from Houston, and the reason I grabbed him is he showed a lot of really good stuff at the end of last season. And I expect Houston to be playing from behind a lot, so he's going to be throwing the ball a ton. And I stacked him with Nico Collins, who is their up-and-coming big-bodied receiver who's going to go get it in the end zone. And then I overpaid for Trey Lance. While I know, and this actually happened before the Garoppolo deal, I thought if they're going with Lance, if they're letting Garoppolo go, Lance has to be the man. He can do it with his legs. That's going to be great for fantasy. And then I bought a share of Ayuk. I traded, and it's a little lopsided, I traded Deontay Johnson for Ayuk and Dobbs from Green Bay. Because I really wanted shares of Ayuk to go with Trey. I'm all about the QBWR stack. And I knew I wasn't getting Kittle, even though Kittle's on his last legs. Hot take. You think Tampa Bay misses the playoffs and takes wild card and loses in the first round? It's entirely possible. Tom Brady's life is in a shambles right now. His wife wants to leave him. He's cheating on her with football. He promised her that last year was the last year, and he lied to her. She's the moneymaker of the household. So his life is in shambles. I think he is going to be distracted this season. Not the Masked Singer. Right. Not the Masked Singer. And I don't know if Tom can do it. His receivers are getting up there in age. They're breaking down as much as I love those guys. I don't know about Tampa this year. Their defense is stout. If you have a defense in your fantasy league, there's nothing wrong with taking Tampa's defense. I think they're going to put up some numbers. San Francisco's defense is phenomenal. Buffalo's defense, you've seen it. Was it 6 sacks, 3 picks, or 2 picks? Those are the top 3 Ds. No Gronk. Godwin is hurt. Evans is hit and miss. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Yep. I am interested in seeing the Baker game. I have a feeling there's going to be a few personal fouls in the Browns-Panthers game. That's my call. Probably on the first offensive play or series for the Panthers. I'm calling here. I'm gonna write it down. Let's write this down. Let's put it on paper so that nobody can say I'm making it up. As soon as I can find my markers. We'll use this one then. predictions. I don't know if I spelled that right. I only half care. Personal foul on the first Panthers drive. Justin Tucker hits a 73-yard field goal. So I was actually watching the kickers warm up at the game Thursday, and Tyler Bass hit one from 65 yards with distance. Doug saw it too. I said, hey, look. And I pointed out to Trevor, and I said, that's a 65-yard field goal if he makes it. And he made that in the middle of the upright. So I think, I'm not going to say exactly who or what. $70-yard field goal is on the table. I like that, Hellbolt. I'm just going to make it less specific. I mean, if anywhere, it's likely to happen in Denver because of the light air in Denver. I think every time the record's been broken, it's been in Denver. Although, don't fact check me on that. I know the original record was broken in Denver because of the thin air, but I don't know. I don't know if the rest of them were. I mean, obviously. Allen is Super Bowl MVP, league MVP. That's happening. TB wildcard, at best. We'll go there. I'm going to say my rookie one too, the one I said earlier. Olave leads the rookie wide receivers. Jason Elam, 63 in the 90s, was in Jacksonville, and Tucker's was in Detroit. Prater's was in Denver. There you go. There's the answer. You got it. I remember Elam 63. I remember Prater's as well. I'm a huge fan of kickers. My Dynasty League that I'm going to do next season will have kickers in it because I'm a special teams fanatic. I love defense and special teams. I could care less about offense. Waller outproduces Thielen. For your sake, Panda, I hope so. I hope Waller outproduces Thielen. Is Waller playing tomorrow? Did they take him? I know he was questionable. Let's see. He's in? Okay. Yeah, he's lost his designation. Good. All right, dig it. I wasn't. Yeah, so that's it for the running backs. The tight ends, McBride is going to be the one. Jelani Woods is going to be an interesting look. Jelani Woods on paper and for all intents and purposes, could be the breakout star at tight end. Ladies and gentlemen, Dave Stevens, photographer and videographer of the Stars. If you don't believe it, go check out his site. Purveyor of the greatest sticker company on the face of the earth. That same Dave Stevens. If you don't know the Buffalo Sticker Company, you don't know your stickers. Let's just say Zeke needs to have over 900 yards, or else they're going to shelve Zeke. I think if he stays healthy, he absolutely can. Take some of the pressure off of Dak. I'd love to see it. Yeah, you're welcome, man. I know that you're a sticker guy, Dave. So I sent you some stickers that you didn't make, just to give a sticker guy more stickers. I figured you'd find that hilarious. Let me think of what other hot takes I can do. The mustache. So, for those who don't know, I have some fuzzy mustache stickers that on occasion, I will slip into stuff sneakily. And Dave got one. Some of you have gotten them, some of you have not. It's just on a whim. I don't have many. Trying to think if there's any other hot takes I want to say. Trying to think. I said some things last week that were pretty hot. Oh, here's one. And Thursday proved that I'm going to be right. Gabe Davis is going to have over 200 fantasy points. Who plays Buffalo in the Super Bowl? I will tell you straight up, I have no idea. I am so relaxed on my knowledge for the NFC. But let me take a look. It's not going to be Tampa. I unfortunately don't think it's going to be LA. I think Stafford's elbow is done. He did not throw. He only threw 7 out of his 41 passes beyond 10 yards. Panthers, if CMC stays healthy, it could be. But my concern is getting past the Saints. If we can get 30-30 man to reduce his interceptions, that could be something. Maybe Green Bay gets there. I think Green Bay might have the clearest path. I think San Francisco, if Trey Lance pans out, it could be San Francisco. Yeah, nothing I'd put in writing. I'm not confident enough with the NFC knowledge to put that in writing. I could give you the rundown of the AFC pretty well, being an AFC, my team being in the AFC. The NFC, I mean, whoever you put against us, we're going to beat. That's honestly how I feel. Hey, Pando, take care, buddy. Be safe. Enjoy the show tonight and tomorrow, man. It's going to be fun. Yeah, I don't see... I see us creaming in the Super Bowl, just destroying whatever team. Honestly. If we get there, it really is. No, Dave, I agree. If the Buffalo Bills get to the Super Bowl, you could put the 72 Dolphins in front of them, and they were going to steamroll them. Buffalo getting the opportunity to go back to the Super Bowl with their new Lord and Savior, yeah, you're not stopping them. You're just not. And that's not because I'm a Bills homer. Everybody in the league was saying this a month ago. And now everybody else in the league is agreeing after Thursday. If you can manhandle last year's Super Bowl champions like that, Super Bowl hangover or not, that was one-handedly. Von Miller is back to form. Josh Allen picked up right where he left off. And now everybody gets a chance with the ball in overtime. Good night, Irene. The Bills are taking it. It's going to take an injury to stop the Bills from winning the Super Bowl. And you know exactly who I'm talking about. The Bills defense performed on Thursday without their number one cornerback in Tre'Davious White, who will be out for the next 3 weeks as well. Imagine putting that all-pro corner back in his position and dropping CB2 back to CB3. Forget it. I'm telling you. It's too good. It's too good. So that's what I should do. I should just have a live show where I talk about nothing but dynasty and fantasy football. Because I can spout for literal hours on this stuff. Exactly, man. Jim Kelly was probably the best quarterback to not win a Super Bowl. Him and Dan Marino, very close. Even as a Bills fan, those Marino-Kelly years were the best football you could watch. It was a tremendous time. I hoped that the Jets and Miami and not the Patriots, but I hoped the Jets and Miami got great quarterbacks so that we could see those rivalries again. Patriots, I hope they never have a quarterback again. Miami, if Tua can do it, that's going to be the game of the year. It'll be back to the old days in the 80s where it's Buffalo, Miami. It's no longer Buffalo and New England. We're going to steamroll them again. The Jets are interesting. On paper, the Jets are way better than everybody gives them credit for. There is a ton of under 26-year-old talent on that team. Their last drafts have been great, with the exception of they couldn't get their quarterback to work. Aside from that, the Jets could be very good. Don't sleep on the Jets. But I think right now the best chance of having a rivalry is going back to Miami and having that old 80s rivalry. Yeah, that's the one I see. I think Bills-Bengals will be a great game. I think that's going to be a whole lot of yards right there. I mean, obviously, KC, Buffalo. Buffalo is going to roll into KC when we end up playing them. We're going to roll into KC with such a chip on our shoulder that it is not going to go well for Mahomes and company. KC is week 6. So mark the calendars. It's a 4 o'clock Eastern game, October 16th. And then right after that game, we have a bye. After that bye, Sunday night football against Green Bay. That's a tough combo. Thank goodness there's a bye in between. Then we beat the Jets. I'm just going to see if we can get this to focus. All right. LA we beat. Tennessee, I think, is actually going to be a better game than people think. That Monday night football game against Tennessee, the week after next, is actually going to be a good litmus test. I think Tennessee is a solid team. I really do. Miami is going to be a great game. I believe we win. Baltimore, we have proven time and time again, Jackson is not a problem for us. Not a problem. The Steelers, I hope Mitch is still playing. It'll be fun. I love you, Don, but I take the Bills over the Steelers. KC, we steamroll. I think it's going to be us. Big swinging right arm of Josh Allen. Green Bay's going to be a mess. Jets should be a win. Vikings will be another interesting game. If we get pressure on Cousins, it's game over. The Browns will be Deshaun Watson. I have a feeling we're going to make Deshaun pay. Todd's like, pish posh. The Lions. I love the Lions. I hate to speak ill of them, but I take that as a win. Patriots is going to be easy. I mean, we play the whole AFC right in a row right there. December 1st, 11th, and then the flex week in Miami. That flex week, my dad is calling. That flex week could be interesting because Miami will know what they have by then. And then the Bears, they're the Bears. There's a tough Monday night game. And then we rest our starters in Week 18 against the Patriots, getting ready for the playoffs, the first round bye. I think we honestly, I think we go 14-3. I think that's the worst schedule we can do. If the Bills can keep TJ contained, you should roll right over Pittsburgh. And that's true. Listen, Aaron Donald got his sacks Thursday, but Aaron Donald was not as disruptive as people planned because Josh Allen is more mobile than people realize. Yeah, they know he can scramble, but his ability to move in the pocket is what's understated. He doesn't necessarily have to scramble out. He can move in the pocket. I know my dad wants to put in his 2 cents. My dad's a Bills fan too, so I know he's going to agree with everything I say. But no, I can see 3 possible games where he could get losses. I honestly, true hand on a Bible, think we could go undefeated this year. I think the Bills are that good, barring injury. That's not realistic. Let's be honest, it's not realistic. It's only been done twice before. I think at most we lose 3. At most. And there's my last bold prediction. So the Bears going 5-12. I don't think they're that bad. They're going to lose to Green Bay twice. They will probably lose to the Vikings twice. And I think the Bears Lions is going to be a really good show. At worst, I think they split those games. At best, I think they take both from the Lions. Again, I love the Lions. I'm not trashing them. Um, the Bears have talent. It's just scattered right now. I'd have to look at the Bears' schedule. Let me take a peek at that. Their schedule. All right, here we go. Let's take a peek. Let me take a peek. Now, I'm no expert. Well, let me see here. All right. So it's supposed to be a typhoon in Chicago tomorrow. So that San Francisco game is going to be whoever's got the best rushing attack. I would say the Bears could win that game. They're not going to beat Green Bay. The Bears do not beat the Bills unless we start resting 3 weeks early. Houston will be a tough match. If Mills pans out, Houston will be a loss. Otherwise, I could see them beating Houston. The Giants are going to do really well. Their head coach is good. They're not going to beat the Vikings. They will beat Washington. They will beat the Patriots. They're not going to beat Dallas. They could beat the Dolphins. Justin Fields throws for 7 TDs. Okay. But Allen throws for 8 and rushes for 2. The Lions is anybody's guess. If Atlanta can utilize Mariota the right way, Atlanta could win. Otherwise, I give it to the Bears. Bears and Jets could be a toss-up. There's a lot of toss-up games. Bears could beat Philly if Hurts can't learn to throw the ball. So, there's a lot of up and down games. I give them benefit of the doubt. I'll give them 7 wins. 7-10. I don't think they have a losing record. No offense. Or I don't think they have a winning record. I'm sorry. But 7-10. I think they need to make sure they have fields protected correctly. They need to make sure that the defense is doing the defense of old. I think the Bears could be very good. I'm not sure on what their O-line is. I've haven't done a deep dive into the Bears O-line. Again, my knowledge of the NFC is a little bit weaker than it could be, but is what it is. So yeah, those are my hot takes. You can take those screenshots and you can look at them and save that and see what comes into fruition. Last year's O-line was not very good at all. Let's call that spade a spade. It didn't go well. Let me see how you guys drafted this year. All right. You went defense. Good. You need to bring your defense back to what it was before. Got some O-line as well. Yep. Yeah, Kyler Gordon. Yeah, that's great. Brisker at safety, so you got depth at safety now, unless he takes over. So yeah, the first two going. Velus Jones is actually better than people give credit for out of Tennessee. I like him as a wide receiver. He's a burner. He had a 4.3, a low 4.3 40. I think that's when you went OT. Yep, then you went offense. Big guy out of Southern Utah. And then edge rusher. Yeah, you guys are defense heavy. 2 tackles, albeit later, but defense up front. So they're rebuilding that stout Bears defense, and that's fine. I don't know if you guys addressed O-line in the offseason outside of the draft. If you did, that's good. But it's good to see the Bears defense going back to where it was. Hunt for the Browns. Hunt may not actually end up in the Browns. I think Hunt is has a good chance of being traded. He demanded a trade. We could see a trade. Especially if a big injury happens week 1 somewhere outside of Cleveland. I think Hunt gets shipped for a decent draft pick next year. And maybe a player. I know there was rumor Hunt for Garoppolo. And who knows? Maybe Hunt, maybe, Trey Lance doesn't make it after week 2 in San Francisco. Or, I'm sorry, is making it come week 2 in San Francisco. They realize they don't need Garoppolo. And they swap Hunt for Garoppolo week 2 or week 3. That is possible. Stranger trades have happened. I was actually a big fan of the Hunt Garoppolo trade talk. That gave them their stopgap quarterback for the first 10 games. And that gave another speedy piece in the backfield for San Francisco. But apparently they didn't want to do a 1-for-1. San Fran wanted more than just Hunt. So I think that's where that broke down. Or at least if rumors are to be believed. Trying to think if there's anything else I missed. Oh, I said it yesterday. I said it last week, and I'll say it again. I've bought 2 shares of Wan'Dale Robinson. I am convinced that in a couple of weeks, this guy right here is going to be starting in the slot and getting a ton of looks in Brian Daboll's offense. I think he's going to be good for around 7 targets a game when he takes over that slot position. Wan'Dale Robinson is basically your Cole Beasley, your Ayuk, your dude who can get open in space. He potentially, and by the way, his cards, you can pick up some of his lower numbered autos for $40-$50. Listen, if you can snag one for 20, grab one. Just because I think his volume is going to be great. I was on there earlier today, and I saw some of his lower end autos are going for 20. Some of his higher end autos are going for like 60. His better ones are going for around $100. Lesser ones going for about 75. So we are pretty stoked that we hit the Jahan Hotbox yesterday. Yeah, and Bolt, thank you for confirming that, man. I have been talking about Gabe Davis for 2 years now. 2 years ago when I was working at that other place, I pulled this very card for Doug in a break. And I bought this card from Doug before we were even partners. Just as a casual acquaintance, I bought this from him for a couple $100 because I knew it was going to be the guy. And exactly as I told everybody, Gabe Davis is becoming the man. I am saying Wandale, while not at Gabe Davis levels, because Gabe Davis is a pure WR2, Wandale is a straight slot receiver. But you're going to get Cole Beasley numbers out of him. When they put Tyreek in the slot, that's the type of thing you can see from Wandale. Wandale is not Tyreek, so don't take that literally. But you can get a lot. Daboll loves, the head coach of the Giants loves slot receivers. The slot receiver is the second look in his offense. He has WR1 running his tree, and the second look is slot, not necessarily WR2. It's not necessarily the X or the Y. So, just saying. You can tell how well somebody is going to do from the wide. I will give you my secret for drafting wide receivers in Dynasty and Fantasy. I look at the last 3 games of the season before for a wide receiver's second year. I look at the last 3 games of the previous year. I look to see if there's any more additions or subtractions to the wide receiver room. But I called DK Metcalf 2 years ago having his breakout. I drafted him and sold him at the end of the season. I called Gabe Davis's breakout, and I have Gabe Davis on my team, my Dynasty team right now. But if you are questioning a second-year receiver's place, look at the final 3 games of their rookie season. And that is a solid indicator of where they're going to go year 2, barring any additions or subtractions to the wide receiver room. And by that, honestly, barring any additions to the wide receiver room. I'm trying to see if I can give an example here. Bear with me. All right, here. Ayuk. Speaking of Ayuk. Didn't play week 18. So those are his last 3 games. Those are good numbers for somebody that was considered a wide receiver 2 or 3. That stuff is good. He balled out when there was an injury, so I didn't take too much stock into that. But here he was still competing. He was out of the doghouse and been competing. That's why I wanted shares of Ayuk. I also wanted to stack him too. Running backs, you got to look at the last 5 games of their rookie season. But those are typically, if there is a trade for a second-year receiver, or I want to target a second-year receiver on my Dynasty League, I will look at the rosters. I will see the last 3 games of their season. I will look to see their off-season moves, and that's when I decide to make my trades. And because of that, I will get names like Gabe Davis, Believe it or not, DK really was a nobody rookie year. He didn't do very much his entire rookie year until his playoffs and his late stuff. So people were still sleeping on DK. But I knew that was going to be the guy. Ayuk, very well, could be with Gabe Davis this year's breakout. Gabe Davis is going to really break out. Ayuk is the other guy that you should go get. Debo is going to get his looks. He's going to get his touches. He's going to get his back passes. He's going to get his wide receiver screens. Ayuk is going to be clearing out a lot of the zone. So if Trey can get his accuracy down, the Trey Lance Ayuk connection is a good value dynasty-wise, because you can get both of those guys for fairly inexpensive in comparison to other QB1s and wide receiver 2s. So, honestly, I don't have much more than that. Does anybody want to grab anything before I go? Because it is a quiet Saturday. There's only 10 of you hanging out. And again, I could talk football literally all night. I will have to see about either going live on Wednesdays or something else. Maybe I'll start doing a regular fantasy. Let me ask you, okay, there's 10 of you here. Of the 10 of you, I expect 7 of you are actually listening and engaging. Should I have a 1 hour or 2 hour show on Wednesdays that just tackles fantasy football? Would you guys be interested in something like that, or would my time be served better doing something else? Be honest, you can't hurt my feelings. It's not possible. Hellbolt is like, no, I don't want to hear it. Chef is like, I had somehow hit pause and snoozed for a minute. That's all right, man. Take a nap, bro. It's all good, man. You do you. The great thing about this is being recorded on YouTube and Twitch. You can come back and watch it anytime. Dave's like, I will tune in. Great. See, there you go. I could break down the matchups, and plus I have Sirius XM radio, and I listen to Channel 88, which is the NFL Network, religiously, every once in a while. And Chef is like, I would listen to you read the phone book. Albert Adams, 805-555-1212. Alberto Adams, 505-212-1186. Craig's like, Wednesday, I work, not interested. Listen, man, you can always listen to it at your leisure. Wednesday's the only other day I'm actually in Santa Barbara. Wednesday is typically when I'll do everybody's shipping. So I'm here anyway. I might as well record an hour or 2 hour show. You can listen to it whenever. Mel's like, you should read a book. Yeah, the problem is getting the copyright. Getting them to allow me to read a book, because believe it or not, you can't read a book on camera unless you have the rights to do so. Otherwise, I'd be on Audible reading 50 Shades of Grey for people. Your podcast could be fantasy draft picks. It would have to morph into regular. So back to what I was that actually reminded me. I listen to Channel 88. Channel 87 is the fantasy, the fantasy sports channel, where they talk about daily fantasy sports. And those guys have good info. I do listen to what they say, but I listen with a grain of salt, because they typically don't do dynasty. They're more fantasy based and weekly fantasy. That's true, Don. I can do whatever I want until I get caught. There's no personality for most of those guys on Channel 87. And some of them, their diction is hard to listen to. The way they speak and enunciate is painful on my ears. I'm sure they're good people. I'm sure they're not degenerate gamblers that spend their whole life gambling tens of thousands of dollars every week on the things that they say. But I think I could give you an entertaining and educational weekly sports from the fantasy and dynasty perspective. And hey, maybe I'll do 5 or 6 and then I'll be on Channel 87. I'll do that during the days and this during the night, and we'll get Mel a boyfriend. She'll never know I'm gone. It'll be great. Get Jimmy a nanny. Independent card makers. Oh, when I was doing the art cards, that was actually an impromptu conversation. That was during a regular break night, I believe. That was an impromptu convo. That wasn't intended to be the conversation of the day. So I unfortunately can't even steer you to that. But then maybe that's what I do. Maybe Wednesday, when the dust settles from this weekend, and I can see myself how well I predicted this weekend privately. If I feel I did well, and I'm not going to write more than this out, I will then decide whether or not to do a Wednesday. So I don't know if I do it pre-recorded. I may just do it pre-recorded for the first one. Maybe I'll do a 30-minute segment, not live, just pre-recorded, upload it, and then if people like the content, maybe I'll open it up to live questions so that you can set your lineup on Wednesday. Yeah, and because I won't be handling cards, I'll just eat a big plate of barbecue wings. And that'll be my thing. It'll be a Wings and Things podcast. Oh, and I gotta think of a good name for it now. DC's Delicious Dynasty. No. Wings and Warriors. No. Fantasy Football and Food. I don't know. I'll think of something catchy. And then I'll trademark the crap out of it and own it myself. DC's Thoughts and Tots. How about fantasy football with a side of blue cheese? Bone-in nuggets. There you go. Bone-in nuggets. That's what it is. Yeah, don't get me started on boneless wings. I don't have the time to. And don't say ranch or I'll block you. If you're on Twitch, I'll just block you if you say ranch. All right, everybody, that's a wrap. Hey, tomorrow is gonna be huge. I'm excited. You should be excited. I am gonna keep all of the football stuff we have available up there. I think we're gonna drop a couple new football breaks next week. Smaller, bite-sized. We're talking like low dough buy-in, inexpensive divisions. Fun stuff, nothing crazy. Hot fantasy, hot wings. I love it. Although, starting it with hot fantasy may end up with a bunch of guys dressed as centaurs watching with bowls of blue cheese that they don't plan on eating. Anyway, we will see how it goes. Only reason they get away with it is because breasts and wings are both white meat. That's true. All right. Don't get me started on wings. I'm actually really hungry. I love each and every one of you. I want you to have a wonderful and safe and responsible time tomorrow. There's going to be a lot of tailgating, and coming from a member of the Bills Mafia, I can tell you, it may get out of hand. So do yourself a favor and have a designated driver or a designated babysitter so that everything goes well, because I want to see you next week. And that doesn't happen if you're irresponsible. So, again, I love you. Take care of yourselves and each other. Have a ton of fun tomorrow during the games. And come back to me safe and sound on Thursday. Take care, everybody.